What's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bowl Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, it is Wednesday and we are back at it again with another edition of reactions to your Chicago Bulls hot takes. This is probably one of my favorite types of videos to make, and I'm looking forward to getting into this one. But before I get into that, the three winners that were selected separately, none of them reached out to claim their gift card for the giveaway. So if you saw my community post or my video from yesterday, I am giving the gift card to the first person who comments on this video. And sometimes I know there are essentially comments placed at the exact same time, and the way I'll determine that is if that happens, is whichever comment YouTube lists first in the order of newest comments, and I'll share a screenshot to confirm in the following video for evidence of who is the actual winner. Now guys, if we can get 200 likes on this video, just 200 likes, which hopefully won't be too hard to obtain, I'll throw in another $50 gift card to the NBAstore.com for the second person in line to comment. So hopefully you get all those bell notifications on so you can be one of the first. Okay, now let's get into our first hot take, and I'll add some of these are from last week that were submitted after the last hot takes video, and I wanted to include those as well because some of them were pretty good. So first up, we have Hooded Jaguars, and he says, well, I guess I shouldn't say he since we don't have a first name, but they say, "Hey Bowl Central, been here since 100 subs, but please put this in the vid, it would mean a lot. But my hot take is that Zach Lavine is the best shooting guard in the Eastern Conference." So first of all, Hooded Jags, appreciate you being one of the early subscribers. Shout out to all of my earlier subscribers on here, so thank you for that, and happy to include you in this video because this is actually a good take. It's one that I'm happy to talk about. Second, so like I said, this is quite a hot take. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you know that I am one of the more critical Bulls fans of Zach Lavine. I do think he is the best player on our team, but I am not quite sure he's our franchise player, a number one option on a title contending team. I've said that multiple times, so that shouldn't be news to anyone. But again, that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people get upset when I say this. So with that, there are some issues with this take in my view, because I do think Zach is one of the best shooting guards in the East, definitely top 5, but the best, the number one, the best shooting guard in the Eastern Conference. I don't think I can get behind that. I mean, keep in mind, you have guys like Bradley Beal, Jaylen Brown, even Jimmy Butler. I know most consider him to be more of a forward, but I still view him as a shooting guard. I would personally put all of these guys ahead of Zach. So it would make Zach the 4th best shooting guard in the East. If you take Jimmy off of that and list him as a forward, then Zach is a top 3. I can, to an extent, potentially get behind Zach Lavine being ahead of Jaylen Brown, but not Bradley Beal. I know Beal's team has been struggling. Bradley Beal, in general, I mean, his team hasn't really been winning a lot ever since, the start of his career, really. But this guy is a great player, a much more efficient player than Zach Lavine. He has a PER of 27. Compare that to Zach at 20. They're about the same in terms of their passing ability and rebounding ability, but Beal is a much more efficient scorer. He's a better 3-point shooter, and at least so far this season, he turns the ball over a lot less than Zach does. So I think that's, something worth noting. So it's not an insane hot take, because there is an argument that Zach could be the best shooting guard. But I think most people outside of Bulls fans would agree that he's likely top 3, not the best. Okay, next up, this one is actually a bit of a twofer, really, because it shows the drastic differences in opinions among Bulls fans regarding Coby White. So first we have David Gola, who says Coby White's future role in the league will be a microwave scorer a la Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams off the bench, and win multiple 6th Man of the Year awards. Then we've got Sharik. Coby White will make an all-star team this season. So what I'll say is this, I'm more in the middle of these takes. I think it's incredibly unlikely that Coby would make an all-star team this season. I know he's had a decent start, but he's just in the 2nd season of his career. He's still learning a lot, particularly learning his role as a starting point guard on this team. So there are going to be great and bad games here and there from Coby White. And we've seen that already so far in just this short season. Those bad games will keep Coby from being selected to an All-Star game. Not only that, but the Bulls really have to have a decent record for him to even make it. That's part of the reason why Zach wasn't selected last season, because by the numbers, by all accounts, he was having a great year and he should have been selected. But the way these selections are made are really determined greatly on a team's success. Whether it's fair or not, that's how it is. Now, on the other side, from David's take, I don't think Coby's career will just be defined as a microwave scorer. Now, comparing him to Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams when winning multiple Sixth Man of the Year awards is nothing bad. That's actually very high praise. I just don't really see that from Coby. I think he can be more than just a spark scorer coming off the bench. I actually do think he has the capability to be a great scoring point guard. You can tell that he has the desire to learn as much as he can and better himself in any way that he can. And keep in mind, he's only 20 and has showed tremendous potential for only in his second season in the league. Already he's improved his passing game dramatically, even just from last year, or even in the first couple games that we saw this season. He still has a lot to learn, but I don't think he'll just be a career scorer coming off the bench. Okay, next up, we have Ricky P, and he says, by the end of the season, Coby and Zach will arguably be one of the best backcourts in the league, top 3. So here's the thing. I like this take. I don't agree with it, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but I like this take because there have been games where Coby and Zach have looked like a top backcourt. Why do I keep saying basketball? Like a top backcourt in the league. I believe it was the game against the Kings where they nearly combined for a total of 70 points. It resulted in a loss, but they looked incredible out there together. And if they can continue to sustain that kind of play throughout the season, then yeah, I can get behind them being one of the best backcourts in the league. But I think the likelihood for them to keep that high level of play between the two of them throughout the whole season is probably low. On top of that, those types of performances, they have to translate into wins in order for them to be considered one of the top backcourts. Now let's talk about some of the great backcourts in the league. So you have Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum with the Blazers. You have John Wall and James Harden. There's Beal and Westbrook. You have Devin Booker and Chris Paul. You can make the case for Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins, although I probably wouldn't put them ahead of Lavine and Coby. It would be a different story, obviously, if it was Curry and Thompson, but obviously Klay Thompson is not going to be playing this season. And I know Kemba Walker is injured, but even Kemba and Jaylen Brown, because Kemba Walker is expected to return, so even Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown with the Celtics. So there are just a lot of great backcourts across the league that make it difficult to say that Lavine and Coby are one of the best. Now, you did say by the end of the season and not now. And obviously, Lavine and White could turn it on and dominate like they did in that game against the Kings and some of the other games for that matter. Again, they would still need to win, at least consistently, so it's possible they could be considered top 3 if they can do that. But in my opinion, I would put Lillard, McCollum, John Wall, Harden, Booker, and CP3, and Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown all ahead of these guys, at least at this point in time. Not in any particular order with those, but I would put them ahead. And that even applies by the end of the season, in my view. I would obviously love it if Lavine and Coby became one of the best backcourts by the end of the season, because it would be amazing for the Bulls, but I just don't see it happening for this season anyway. They are one of the top backcourts, but not top 3. At least this season. That's not to say, that they can't eventually become one of the best backcourts in the next 2 or 3 years, because both players are still young. All of the other duos that I mentioned are obviously older, so I don't think that, it's unlikely. Their time will come. It's just not this season to be one of the top. Man, there are actually still so many other good hot takes as I'm looking through these that you guys gave, but I really don't want to make this video too long. Otherwise, people will be deterred from watching it even before clicking on it. I might just have to come up with a double upload for round 2 later today if I can find the time. We'll see on that. If not, I'll try to include some of these others for next week. Feel free to drop your hot takes in the comments for future videos, and also let me know your thoughts on my reaction to these takes from this video. As always, guys, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan and you like daily Bulls content. Thanks again for all your hot takes. I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one.